The first and most important question before I introduce you, I just want to know if you like my jacket.
Of course I do. It's an infamous jacket.
Bring me my favorite season now. I need autumn. I've seen like one or two yellow leaves on the ground, and I'm like, yes, come on, just
It's
bring
time.
it, keep going. It's so time. And for me to have not just one of these Zyiya bomber jackets, but two, I'm like, I need to wear both of them now.
Alternate every
If
day.
I do it now, yes, if I do it now, I'll be too sweaty. But give me a couple weeks, and you won't see me not with a bomber jacket on.
Yeah. They're so nice. Looks so good.
What is your favorite thing about the bombers?
No, I was gonna say they're so comfortable, and I'm always cold, and so I like hate jackets that I have to like fidget with because I wear them 24 hours a day because I'm cold even in like 102-degree heat.
Right.
So I like the thumb holes. That's really the best part. Let's be real.
Yes. And you make a great point. It does feel like I'm just like wearing skin. Like it doesn't feel like I have a jacket on right now.
No, because I hate raincoats. Every time I ever bought a raincoat, I was like, I'm never wearing this. But
yes,
this feels like the function of a raincoat without the annoyance of sounding like you're wearing a trash bag.
Yes. ZyiaActive wear, y'all. And if you want some of it, you can holler at this girl right here. To everyone watching and listening, thank you for coming back to The Mirage. To hear this conversation with this amazing woman to my left, to my right, I would like to introduce everyone to Sarah McWilliams. That is her legal name right now. Regardless of the fact that she is 1 year in of a beautiful marriage that I had the pleasure of watching blossom. I love that your face just froze on that big smile. It was so great. Literally.
Also, can I tell you that every time it freezes now, I want to sing, it was Amir's song.
You're the best for bringing that up. Okay.
Shout out Amir for sticking that in my head.
Now, just because you said it, we got to do it.
I don't even remember it. I really don't. I just know that he sang the Frozen
song. I will
song.
never forget it.
I do not remember it. I just remember being like, oh my God, genius. This kid's a genius.
Sing the Frozen song. Time to sing it up. I have the pleasure of knowing you, Sarah, as not just a colleague, but also as one of my girlfriends. And I feel so blessed. I've said before in another interview, it doesn't feel like it's easy to make friends anymore nowadays. Social media, to me, is changing the way that we see people. It's changing the way that we react to people. The fact that we had the pleasure of working together at the same dance studio, getting to know each other, being the only young Johns there, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was just really awesome. But the other thing I want to say, I was thinking about this leading up to your interview. My first year as a dance instructor in this area, you had just graduated, and I truly, like, the very, very first time I met you was when I was interviewing for the job, and I believe you were there for, like, a summer class with the seniors.
I remember taking your class before I went somewhere else. I left for the summer.
Right. So, like, I didn't get to know you at that point. You have an amazing reputation. You have been to Israel to dance, and you've danced with multiple companies. You've choreographed for multiple companies. You went to Temple for dance, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I've always known who you are as a dancer, but then you started working at the studio some years later. And one thing I want to say about you that I love so much that will bleed into this interview is that you are so wise beyond your years. You are so mature for your age, and people trust that about you, hence your position like in administration with the studio when you did start working there, your energy just going into getting to know me and us building that friendship. It was always something so mature and so grounded and refreshing. So I say that to say you're this amazing person inside and out, which is why I'm excited to interview you, but also give you this platform and let the rest of the world and our listeners and viewers get to know you a little better.
You're so nice.
Yes. Your light totally shines, so we're just going to take it and make it shine even brighter.
You're the best.
I'm ready. So I want to start with your dance background in general, and we're going to kind of snowball the conversation into speaking on confidence. So as both a dancer when you were younger and a dance instructor, what would you say teaching dance, taking dance does for someone's self-esteem and someone's understanding of themselves?
I want to be positive about it. I feel like
no, we're gonna keep it all the way real, okay?
Yeah,
we're gonna keep it real on the Mirage, y'all.
I feel like the things that I like from a teacher perspective and a student who kind of always knew I wanted to be a teacher, so I paid a lot of attention to what my teachers did. And I just have been able to learn like from an insane amount of teachers. I feel like dance itself is not great on your self-esteem because there's just an inherent level of deep or judged, let alone you're doing it all in front of a mirror, which is its own drama.
Yeah.
In itself, it doesn't do much for your self-esteem unless you're amazing at it. And I was far from amazing. I was very mediocre at best. I was just nice, I think. And so I got far because I was nice. I was not amazing when I was younger.
But she's amazing now. Let's get that straight. She's amazing now. Sorry, just
I
talking.
I feel like I grew into being a dancer literally out of college. Like I was able to take what I learned in college and synthesize it all once I graduated and like had other experiences. And even teaching has made me a better dancer. But yeah, self-esteem wise, it wasn't great for me in terms of the actual classes. But shout out Miss Liz, my modern teacher.
Yes, Miss Liz. Miss her.
She started there, I guess, when I was in 9th grade. So starting high school or maybe 10th grade.
Oh, that is a very like important year.
So
that's an important
I want to say maybe it was 10th grade. And very important year, or I don't even know, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And she was the first person I did modern dance from. And like ballet, I loved, but it was like I had not found my niche, but I like knew I loved dancing.
Right.
And then modern like exploded my mind. And like Miss Liz was the first person that gave me like a featured part in a dance and like let me demonstrate things. And I was like, oh my God, like this is what I want to do. Like this is it. Right. And so shout out Miss Liz for, I'm like gonna cry.
I know, right? Like, miss her so much. Yes, Liz Green. Go ahead.
Yeah, she just had such an impact. And like, so teachers who take the time to find the thing you're good at and like bring it to light, then your self-esteem like explodes. But when you suck and you just know you suck. But even then in styles I sucked at, like having good teachers, I was able to like laugh it off, you know, not feel terrible. But I think if I hadn't had one thing I felt good at, it would never redeem the rest of it. Like I had to have 1 week, 1 hour a week, just one that I didn't suck at.
You read my mind. That's just a testament to our friendship. As you started with this, I was like, dude, I can't wait to ask who are the teachers that helped you. And I asked Allie a similar question, being as though, you know, also being a professional dancer and growing up in dance. Like you said, we can keep it real. It's not easy to be body confident and have great self-esteem as a dancer and in the dance world. But who are the instructors and the influencers that make sure that you come out of this with a healthy state of mind as well as a healthy body, you know? So I was going to ask, like, who are the teachers that have gotten you over that? So I love that you mentioned Miss Liz. Are there any other instructors or any specific experiences that you had, whether as a young dancer or as a mature dancer, where you felt yourself come out of an insecurity or an uncomfortable feeling?
Feels weird because like you know all my teachers from growing up, so now it's like now it's all a little weirder. But I mean, I feel like I never had a bad teacher at Kicks.
Yeah.
Because the philosophy there, as we know, was very much about like it doesn't matter what you look like. It crept in with some teachers more than others, especially because the people I was dancing with, there were some really talented, like genuinely really talented people who deserved all the attention they got, but 14, 15, 16-year-old Sarah, you know, was like, why do they get all the solos, as we all do? But they genuinely deserved it. But I always felt like I worked harder than people. So it was nice to see that, like, you know, the kids who never came to class still got solos. Okay, then why am I coming to class every week and not getting anything? But when you have those teachers who will, like, reward you for attending class, from a teacher, I'm like, I totally get why we did it, like, why it was done that way.
Yep.
But that's why I always tried to be sympathetic, because I would say to our kids, like, I've literally stood in the studio and had the exact same thoughts as you, and they still haunt me X number of years later. Right. So, like, I will do my best to not make you feel the way I felt. Yeah. It didn't always work. because there's reasons beyond a student's understanding.
Yep.
But I do feel like the environment, so I danced at a different studio before I went to Kicks, like first grade through sixth grade, I guess. And then we moved from like one suburb to the other.
Yes.
And when I was at the other studio, it was fine. And I always loved it when I was in class, but I dreaded going because it just wasn't the right fit for me. And then when I switched to Kicks, like within a month, my life literally changed. Like my parents still say of all the things moving did, finding Kicks was then like they would move all over again just for me to find Kicks.
Wow.
Because it changed my whole life. I probably wouldn't have danced beyond 7th grade if I hadn't moved. Because I just didn't like it. And then I found Kicks and I was like, oh, I don't even know what about it.
I was just going to ask, are there any like just bullet point qualities where you can be like, it's because of this? Or maybe from your parents' perspective. Maybe you know why your parents feel that way.
I don't even know. I think it was just like the people I was dancing with, I got along with better. The teachers really cared. I feel like the place I was at before, teachers cared, but back then, like, a lot of the teachers had other jobs, and so they were running in late, and they weren't super invested, and, like, it was just at a very, like, wasn't taken as seriously. That studio now is totally different, but when I was there, when I was younger, this classes I was in, it just, like, wasn't the right fit for me for whatever reason, and then I went to Kicks, and it just, like, was my long-lost soulmate to be there. And so it like changed my whole life. Like I literally would not have been dancing had I not switched there.
That's amazing.
So all the teachers there made an impact on me just because they're like all one piece of why I kept dancing. Even when I sucked and could not remember choreography. I mean, we used to laugh about it. Like Miss Kristen used to be like, yeah, when someone struggles with choreography, I'm going to send them to you. Cause like we all remember. I mean, even in college, I'll be real honest, and then I realized later this was terrible. I would feel like I had a great performance if I only messed up twice on stage. I was like, I only messed up twice.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh my God, there's people that don't mess up every single show, every single dance.
Those people suck. You suck. No, I'm kidding.
Right. But I was like, I just can't remember anything. And I learned how to. Like going to Israel, dancing there is where I really, really like had no choice. And so it was like, learn it. Yeah, there's no option B. Just like you have no choice, you have to figure it out. So sometimes when you have to, you just do, and you don't want to look stupid, so you figure it out. And you know, brain's more developed and all of that.
Exactly. And you kind of read my mind again because we're talking about the progress and the trajectory of you as a woman, as a dancer, and your career. What experience have you had so far that has been the most rewarding for you and you only?
What would I say? I mean, I feel like I loved my college experience. Feels very far away now. Feels like it was like another lifetime. But I think college was probably the number one thing because even when I went to college, I didn't even realize like you could dance in college. Like I remember just kind of figuring that out right before I went. And I remember like being shocked when I looked at my schedule and I was like, oh my God, I get to wake up in the morning and like go to ballet and then modern and then like go to rehearsals all day and then do dance history. Like this is my whole schedule. Like this is real life. Like I was shocked. And I feel like that gratitude never really wore off. Like I just kept being very grateful the whole 4 years that like, this is my schedule and like, this is what I want to learn about. And so I think having parents that let me do it and we're not like, go find a real degree, being at a school where like all the people were very diverse and different, but also I think I graduated with 15 other people in my class. I want to say 12 of us that were in all our classes together. So it's very small. We were all very close, like still talk to a lot of them. And if you don't, you know, I still feel very connected to those people. So just having that community was great. And I think I went to college with no one else was a competitive dancer. So in college, it's not a very good thing. Like it's very like, ugh. But I do think when you go to college for dance, you get a grade. Now, we can all argue the merits of whether you should be grading dance or not. But being one of the only people who was used to getting a score sheet from competitions and then essentially getting a score sheet on your midterm, people were like not handling it well the first year.
Yeah, wow, that makes sense. Huh.
So things like that where I was like, oh, college dance, I like had my struggles for sure, but it was the first time I felt like good about being a dancer.
Yes.
Because in high school I didn't. I was like not great. And then I got to college and I had all these things I like felt good at.
Right. That sounds like something, that sounds like something I'm really excited for other dancers, aspiring dancers, and teenage dancers to hear. Like, I'm really excited to push the fact that you just said that. Because when you're a teenager, you're getting ready to go to college, you're going through the stress and the frustration of figuring out whether or not you should major in dance because maybe you've been taking it your whole life. I feel like what you just explained is something that kids that age don't know, that
Absolutely.
dance really has prepared you for so many things. So in your mind, as a young dancer in a studio, you think that you're just going to a competition because it's fun, practicing, performing, being there with your friends, and that's all fine and dandy. You get the judges' score sheets back, and you just think you're in the studio bubble, and you don't realize that the things that are happening in that bubble truly are applicable to the real world and whether or not you major in dance. What you just said, I've never thought about before. That was a great point where, like, you're going to get graded in it, but you're used to that and you know what to do with that type of information.
Yeah.
The same way you heard a judge say, hey, I need you to push a little bit harder, work a little bit harder at this. Same thing in college. You're already a professional at taking that type of critique and making the best out of it. Never thought of that. That's amazing. So if anyone out there is thinking about
that's just one
major in dance, do it. It's like,
do
it.
I mean, I feel like everyone I danced with in college was not the best kid at their studio in high school, for sure. Now that could be the program I was in is very like eclectic, or it was when I was there. But I feel like people, you know, if you're not the best dancer in high school, that does not mean you have no path forward with dance. A lot of times I think the best high school dancers burn out really fast and don't stick with it.
Right.
Because you've already gotten all this praise and accolades, and like it's not a challenge for you anymore because so much just gets like handed to you. So if you're not the best, that does not mean that like there isn't a place for you. I think the world is nicer outside of high school to those people.
Yes, it absolutely is. And I also just want to give a major shout out to the dance program at Temple, because I feel like, I mean, you and I have definitely talked about it before, but having this in-depth of a conversation about it, it sounds like it was an incredible program, which I've heard they have a wonderful reputation.
Well, and you know so many people from there, and they're all amazing and diverse. Like, I mean, imagine all those people you know and I like in class together. It's very diverse. And so
it's unreal. I've never been so intimidated in my life. And that goes for you too, okay? Like temple dancers hit different. I'ma just put it like that. Y'all hit different in the best way. That's awesome.
Honored.
So because of all of this, you are more confident and you are continuously gaining confidence. It's a never-ending process. But with that being said, you are now an entrepreneur. Okay, let me ask this.
Crazy.
Was being an entrepreneur in any capacity ever part of the plan for you? And by that I mean, let me rephrase, like in the most independent way, because I know with being in administration at the studio a little bit, there was always a talk of, did you want to be a studio owner? But what you're doing right now is much more like independent, fresh start, kind of came out of nowhere, new path. Would you have ever wanted to start your own business from scratch in that way? Was that ever a part of the plan?
I did always growing up want to, like, I thought I wanted to own a studio. That has evolved a lot, you know, as I've gotten older.
Yes.
But the big thing, like, especially when we all got locked down and it's like reassess your whole life.
Yep.
You know, Lucas and I, shout out husband,
shout out hubby.
would talk a lot, and he was like, what are you doing to prepare yourself to start a business? Like, you don't have a business degree, you don't take marketing classes, practically you don't know anything about owning a business, and you don't seem to be doing much to like further that. So what are you going to do?
Right.
And we talked about all these things. I don't love school. I don't want to go back to school necessarily. It's not in my alley to go get like a job in business somewhere or like in a different kind of business. I don't want to do that. And then even at the businesses I'm at, what can I do to take my own, like put it in my own hands? The thing that scared me about owning a business, I don't even know where I would start. So then when I started looking into Zyiaactive, which is the business I do now, yes, repping all day. The thing I realized was like, this is actually amazing because it gives you an umbrella to work under. So they give you a lot of the marketing tools. You have all this support from people who are already doing it, but it's up to you to make it what you want. And for me, I do like that. Like I like being in jobs where I'm part of a bigger organization. I just get to do my thing under it. I don't have that desire to like 100% create my own everything. So that's what scared me. And I was like, well, maybe I'm not cut out to be a business owner because I don't want to start from scratch. Like I don't want to write my own workouts and promote them as a program. I like doing my thing under someone else's umbrella. So when I found Zyiaactive, I was like, you know what? This is amazing. I can learn how to use social media for business. I can learn how to effectively lead people. I can learn the ins and outs of online marketing and follow up. And truly, I mean, I was on multiple weeks of leadership calls, leadership trainings, master classes from outside people, the company, like free training they provided. I paid for some, and it all is building to this, like, it's building my business right now, and I love it. And then if I ever decide to do more with business in the future, I now have all this experience that I, literally in March, had no idea how I was going to get this experience.
Right.
So this is like one piece of a puzzle to me, like figuring out how to be an entrepreneur, business owner in some capacity.
And it sounds like you had such a supportive and encouraging push from people, but there had to be like this faith and this strength within you. If those two things were not there, you know, innately, then maybe it would have been more intimidating, etc. So just like bringing that full circle to why I truly wanted to hear from you and dive into this is like, you had it within you to start that. I remember when you spoke to Allie and I a little bit, and I'm sure other people, you know, about starting the process, and you were a little bit hesitant. And just the fact that you had those conversations with friends, that's already a sign of what was in you and the capability that you had to keep pushing forward. That had to come with some determination, resilience, because I'm sure it didn't feel good at first, you know, when you started and you were doing uncomfortable things. So this still comes full circle to you being this bright person and pushing yourself and not allowing yourself to give up once you did start. I'm sure Lucas has a lot to do with that too, being a supportive hubby. Whoop, whoop. Shout out, Lucas. With that being said, what would you say to somebody that might be struggling with the same decision, especially in the midst of this pandemic? You know, like you said it perfectly earlier. Everything went haywire. Everything is still a little bit haywire. And people are trying to like come back down to the ground without crashing and burning. And they're having to reevaluate their lives, like you said. So now that you've done that and you're doing it so gracefully, what would you say to somebody that's going through that same thought process?
It was more of like thinking about it. And I honestly did not think about Zyiaactive for that long, but I just had this really strong feeling that like I would rather do it and suck at it and change my mind and just like cut it off and no one will care because no one was looking at my social media to begin with anyway. No one's going to notice anyway. I do live in activewear. It's all I wear. I would benefit from the brand being in my life regardless of it turning into a business. So I'll give it a try. If it sucks, I won't do it anymore. But I just had this feeling like this is what you should do. Like in my head, I said no to it multiple times before I said yes to it. And then I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I feel like if it's something that keeps nagging at you, do it. If you sit on it for a while and the idea floats away, twice. But if it's something that like keeps coming back up for you, maybe that's really great marketing. This is my husband in my head. He talks about persuasion all the time. So now I don't know what's real. I'm like, oh my God, their marketing tools just worked really well on me. I get it.
No, what you're saying, you're dropping gems. Go ahead, please continue.
But no, I feel like I just had this instinctual feeling that like, this is something that I should try. I'm never going to have this much time again. Like I'm never going to be stuck in my house with just like an abundance of time and nothing to do. So I was like, if I don't try it now and get my feet on the ground and like take the next few months to try it, I will never feel like I have the time again. And I'm a workaholic. Like, I like to be busy. I like to have multiple jobs.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, I'm not doing a lot of my other jobs right now. I want something to wake up and feel productive towards. And it's still related to my field, honestly, too. It wasn't like I was selling Tupperware, which I do use a lot of. I love Tupperware. No harm there.
Amen.
But it was something that I felt like I could do. It still matched with what I do in the rest of my life. And it just like kept nagging at me. And I was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I suck at it and no one looks at my Instagram anymore. They're already not looking. What do I care? So I'm glad it did not turn out that way and it has worked. But
so this becomes about your intuition and not ignoring your inner voice, not ignoring the intuition when it speaks to you. I love that. I love that.
Third eye chakra.
Yes.
Favorite chakra.
You better do it.
I didn't wear it. I have a third eye ring.
Let me just say, I have so many thoughts in my head right now. I love you so much. I'm going through the process of like, yes, this is my podcast. It's not about me. It's about everyone else. But that weird decision to make where being myself, but then being in that middle ground where it's not about me. The fact that you just brought up like metaphysics in any way and you talked about chakras just made me like my heart skipped a beat in the best way. I was just like, yes, chakras.
Well, I know you understand. You know more than I do. I very much fake it. Third Eye is just also my favorite Florence and the Machine song. So it quickly became my favorite chakra.
Yes. It's probably such a good song. Every Florence song is great. No, don't say that I know more than you. It's a process. I'm constantly learning. There's no way. As a matter of fact, with everything that I do know and love about spirituality, I would have to say I think chakras, that entire concept is what I know the least about. I'm too in love with astrology, but I know it all coincides. I'll connect the dots one day. I say that to say I love you, and I love the way you just broke that down. I love how you made it about your third eye chakra and listening to your intuition. I'd like to repeat the most important thing you said, because when you said it, I was like, oh, warning, bad word coming up. Damn. Like, you said, I'd rather do this and suck at it than not do it at all. We're just going to let that marinate. We're going to let it simmer.
I know. I'm even shocking myself with that phrase. Clearly it pays off because I'm very happy with my decision. So I'm teaching myself in the process.
Girlfriend. And that's been beautiful. Again, friend to friend right now. Fuck the interview. Friend to friend. It's like seeing you blossom through this entire thing, girl. You are a totally different woman. You were already incredible, you know? But now you being this person who is all over social media, motivationally speaking, professionally speaking, influencing other people, speaking on confidence. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck. Okay. You said, do the thing even if you suck at it. My brain is going so many different places. What are your thoughts on life being short and not doing the thing?
Oh, that's like the theme of my life lately. That is like, I'll back up here. So I lived in Philly a year ago yesterday. I was watching a Grey's Anatomy episode. Thanks. I was watching a Grey's Anatomy episode, which they'll get you. This was like a year and a half ago. And it's obviously the theme of every one of those episodes about life is short.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because you said that. In my brain, I was like, thank you, Shonda Rhimes.
Thank you, Shonda Rhimes, for existing. You make all of our lives better. Love you so much. Yeah, I was watching Grey's Anatomy. I was like, oh my God, life is too short. And I am truly one of the most fearful, like Inside Out, Pixar movie, fear, that's me. That's all 5 characters in my brain. I'm afraid of the world. And I was like, life is too short. And sidetrack, my husband's in the military. And we lived long distance. And I was like, he's going to deploy. We'll just put a ... at the end of that. And I will regret if I stay in Philly for my jobs, which is why I was staying. I was living in PA because I loved my jobs and I loved them more than I loved the idea of uprooting my whole life. Right. But then it hit me like life is short and anything can happen to either of us. But he is especially in a high risk job. We weren't married at the time, but you know, we knew that's like, we were not going anywhere with each other apart. And I was like, I have to do it. I just like literally was standing in my kitchen one day and I was like, all right, this is it. So that has been kind of a thing. I'm like, I uprooted my life to do this. It has turned out wonderfully. I've gotten, thank you, quarantine, so much time with my husband, like more than we ever, he doesn't care, but more than I ever could have imagined. And I'm like, this is why I moved here. Because imagine if I hadn't been quarantined with him. All this wasted time.
After the long distance relationship.
After long distance, yes. Life is short. Do the thing. And I'm afraid of the world. And if you met my husband, he is afraid of absolutely nothing and then some. For us to coexist, I have to be slightly less afraid. Or else we would just like have nothing to do because I would be holed up in a corner somewhere, like anxious out of my mind about every decision. I have tried to be more fearless.
Do you have any regrets? Which it doesn't sound like you do, but what is like the biggest, most amazing thing that you've taken away from the fact that you stepped out on faith and made this thing happen? Because now it's great. Oh my gosh, between the VIP group on Facebook, the fact that you chose such an amazing company, because let's be real, it could have happened with another company promoting a different thing, you know, selling a different thing, whatever. But shout out to your intuition and shout out to the universe. The right thing was sent to the right person at the right time.
It happened at the right time in the right way.
Yes, and you're perfect for it. So because it is all so aligned from within you, what has felt the best about it now so far?
That's a good question. Being petite and like muscular but petite but not super like skinny. Like I kind of hate finding clothes because they just remind you of all the things that suck or that you think suck. And so that was so hard. But magically, truly magically, Zyia's clothes do fit. Maybe it's just because I have a personal connection to them that I now feel like they're extra amazing. But whatever it is, I do think that they are extra amazing and like they fit well, they're flattering. They have sizes that fit correctly on people that are petite. So I don't feel like I'm either swimming in it or getting like suffocated by it. So I feel like having clothes to wear that make me feel more confident make me want to take pictures. They make me, like the clothes make me want to go do my workout, which is like, you know, fitness hack. Wear activewear that you like, because then you'll actually want to get up and go work out. And it's true, like you put the outfit on and you're like, well, I'm dressed, like let's go do it because I look great. And now I do want to stare at myself in the mirror for the next 45 minutes. So I just feel like the clothes genuinely have made me more confident, which has just like seeped into all these other aspects. I don't think I looked at myself in that giant mirror at the studio once in 5 hours. Yeah. And it's probably because I didn't like what I would see back in the mirror. Like I didn't want any more time in my life to be spent staring at a mirror and then being distracted by like how my makeup smudged and how frizzy my hair is and how my nails are never painted and whatever. But having clothes that make me, for whatever reason, feel better. Yeah. I'm not distracted by that while I'm teaching and I'm motivated to work out. I'm grateful now, speaking of life being short, like once I started taking pictures of my life, I was like, oh, I get why people do this. The day I got married, I have no pictures of it. The day I moved to North Carolina and bought a house, the day I became a homeowner, we have no pictures of these things.
But you're making up for all of that so well.
And it's like, you know, with a husband that's going to be deployed and gone, I only get so much time in a year to capture pictures of holidays and events and us getting dressed up. And so, you know, having the confidence to want to be in the pictures and not want to cry when someone like turns the camera back around is very different. 6 months ago, even, I would not have been like, I hate pictures. Don't take them of me. Don't show me the result when you're done. Like, get it away from me. And, you know, I still judge myself a lot, but it has gotten better. And I think that that is a product of the business and the brand and Zyia's clothing, but it's influenced itself in just like every aspect of my life. And it's not some magical fix. It's literally just clothes that we all need anyway.
You just helped me figure out exactly what the theme of your interview and this conversation and this episode is. Maybe it sounds cliche. I don't care. I don't care.
All the cliche.
You have truly transformed. This is all about transformation. And again, you were already so great. It's really awesome to hear you be so transparent and honest about who you were before as well as who you are now, and be able to connect those dots. What you said about being fearful was very impactful. And the fact that you are inspiring other people to stop operating from a place of fear and to operate from a place of faith and believing in yourself, as well as knowing that life is short and you may not get certain opportunities again. This is about you transforming into the woman that can acknowledge that you've gone through that transformation and now have the voice and the power to give that to other people as well. You could have just held on to it for yourself, you know?
Yeah, like, I feel like that's, it's a product of being a teacher too. You see those kids that are afraid and they are clearly self-conscious, same thing up here. So why would they act any different? Like, I'm over here tying sweatshirts around my waist and like putting on too much makeup to sweat and like fidgeting with my hair this whole class. Like, no wonder these kids are doing it too. Like, I'm giving them that same energy that I don't feel confident. So why would they? I care enough about what I present as a teacher to also realize, like, if I'm going to ask my kids to improv every week in contemporary, I have to also be willing to be vulnerable and be like, here's why we don't care that it sucks. And here's why, like, you're going to feel awkward. Get weird. Who cares? Move on. No one's watching you anyway. Which is what my favorite phrase in class. I tell my students all the time, I don't care. Be weird. Like, just be weird. And then I go do it and I demonstrate how to improv like a freaking pretzel. And my 14-year-olds laugh, which is all you can hope. Because otherwise they think they have to do everything pretty, and that's not me, and that's not what I believe. Amen. So teach it, live it. It makes it easier for me to do it if I have to hold myself accountable, which is why it all works. Social media works for accountability, in my opinion.
That was so powerful. I was like, hands on my face, because so many people needed to hear that. Students needed to hear that. Other dance instructors needed to hear that. I was just very deeply impacted by what you just said. That was wild. And what you just said is going to change, straight up change my teaching philosophy and my pedagogy and the way that I approach this upcoming season. Like, all you did just now was say like 3 sentences. The power behind the sentences from Sarah McWilliams / Sarami now. You just changed one life. I'm telling you, you just, girl, I'm like about to cry. I'm glad. Just changed one life, one perspective here. And that's going to trickle down. That's going to be the drop in the water that is going to in turn change how I teach and what's going on in the mind of my students in the future. I'm going to make sure I watch this episode and this interview whenever I need to, because wow. We've all got insecurities.
This is the speech I give my kids. This is the speech I give my kids before we improv. I tell them all the time, you are concerned with how you look. So is everyone else in the room. So do you think anyone's watching you? No. Everyone is worried about what they look like. So no one is watching you except for me. And that's my job. You can change what you do the next time you go across the floor or the next song, like whatever it is. But no one is watching you because everyone is concerned with themselves. But in reality, we all know everyone is watching. But that's the beauty of it, is if everyone stops worrying about it, stops feeling like everyone's watching them, you can just do the thing and then you'll all be in it together, doing the thing and being fearless about it. And then when they do watch, it doesn't matter because you're all in it together.
It's one big cycle.
Tip of the day.
One big cyclone. No, that was perfect. I never thought about how your insecurities as a dance instructor could be visible or amplified, or like I'm showing them my lack of confidence, even though I had no idea I'm showing them that I'm lacking confidence up here. And yeah, no, that was a whole big thing. Yeah. That was deep.
That's why I feel like being a teacher made me a better dancer, because if I had to ask my students to do it, I have to be willing to demonstrate it. Yeah. So if I want them to do something and make a face, like I have to be willing to do it. Like if I want them to jazz walk across the floor, I did this once. I had to walk through someone else's room and demonstrate a jazz walk. And I literally felt like I was burning up. I was so anxious about doing it. But I was like, you know what? If I can't do it, how can we ask these kids to?
Being a personal trainer, getting that certificate, learning about the body. I mean, you already learned so much anatomically because of college, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's another new career path that you started. So not just with Zyiya and being an independent representative for them, you also started that new job and that new journey. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you went down to North Carolina, was that part of that transition?
Yeah. So the last 2.5 years I was in Philly, I was teaching bar fitness for the bar method. But my only certification was just their like teacher certification. So I learned a lot about group fitness there. But when I moved to North Carolina, there is no bar. There's just like some gyms and some
Right.
group fitness franchises. My dance degree and my teaching experience in fitness was enough to make me credible. But down here, no one cared about my dance degree and they don't know what bar fitness is. So they don't really care about it. So I had to have something practical to back it up. But it was 100% the right choice. If you teach any kind of fitness, go get a personal training certificate. It will teach you the things you don't know you're not knowing. If you don't know it exists, you don't know you're missing it. So,
Right.
And obviously, if you like fitness, it's just something interesting to learn. So I did get my personal training certificate, but I mostly still just teach group fitness classes because that's my preference. But the last year, it's not bar. I don't really teach bar fitness. So what I do is like heavier lifting. Like I use barbells and kettlebells and like heavier dumbbells and things on treadmills.
Yeah.
Stuff I had never touched, like never really touched before. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I had the knowledge to figure it out. But I've never like worked out in that manner. So the last year I learned a lot by coaching it and taking the classes, which has been great because I do enjoy it. It's been another great like shift I've had in the last year is like, again, I had the umbrella of this business that I worked for, Regimen, is the name of the gym. I had their umbrella under which I could use their programmed workouts, their training, learn how to coach, learn how to lift a barbell and do all these things I didn't really know. And when I started, so like 45-pound plates, I could not even pick it up. I was like, I can't coach these classes. You know, we just put the barbells away if they weren't in the class that day. And I was like, I can't even pick up the barbell. Like,
Crazy.
how I look so stupid. I'm gonna tell
I did not know that. Look how
like I'm gonna tell people to
strong
bicep
you
curl
are
this,
now.
and I can't even. I think a lot of it's mental too, though. Like,
wow.
I have gotten stronger from doing it.
Yes.
But also, I was always so afraid to do it that if you're not mentally checked into picking up a heavy weight, you won't be able to because you're not like you're gonna stop yourself before you even try. And I still do. Like knowing with help of my husband and personal training certificate, there is math behind it. Like if you can do these smaller lifts,
yeah,
calculate it. Like in a formula, you can do one of these heavier lifts.
Wow.
Science tells us you can do it. So if you're not doing it, that is mental. Like that is on you not believing in yourself, which happened last week. I was like, I can't pick this up. And all I had to do was work up to it. A lot of that is like a mental belief.
I literally like my dance,
work.
my little dance is like, yo, we've got a dance now. It's called the fearless dance, y'all. Like that fearlessness and the way that you are explaining the fearlessness and encouraging other people to be fearless deserves dance moves like that.
It all deserves a dance.
It's
always.
so awesome. So many people need to hear this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. No, thank you for asking questions. Call me back when you're ready for your interview and I'll interview you.
That would be so awesome. That would be so
Oh, I'm already plotting this. Don't even worry. I got a plan. We'll chat.
What? What are you talking about? Oh my gosh.
Fun fact, you know this. I'm a podcast nerd. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
You are.
I am.
Thank you. Wait. I really, like, I knew they were a thing, but no other friend had really, like, encouraged me to listen to podcasts. You are the reason that I listen to them and that I appreciate them the way that I do, let alone have my own podcast now. Like, where would we be without you, Sarah McWilliams Sarami? Where would we be?
By encouraged, she means I trapped her in the car for 2 hours and made her listen to podcasts. So I didn't encourage as much as forced it on her. A lot of my favorite podcasts have done at some point, the host gets interviewed by someone that has been on the show before. They switch roles because we want to know about you too. You got a good story, Ava Michelle at Mirage Pod. So we're going to interview you someday. It's going to happen.
I'm glad you think that. Thank you. That is flattering. Maybe some people want to hear my story eventually.
They do.
Okay, one of our quotes at the Mirage recently was like, the beauty that you see in me is a reflection of you. So it never feels like...
Exactly.
It never feels like I have to like talk about the thing. It always just feels like, no, you guys can see the thing because here it is, literally being reflected, you know?
So you come through in your interviews because of the questions you ask and the way you ask them. And the
thank you.
Thoughtfulness that you like. But that means that like when you connect, we want to hear your side of it. Like what made you want. We know, I mean, you've mentioned it a little bit, but
little tiny,
you know, you got to share your story.
I appreciate that.
We'll build up to it. You can just keep teasing it. With every interview, we learn like a little bit more about you, and then we'll have like a big day where we interview you. I'm volunteering myself for this job.
Sarah, that is such a big deal. Are you really?
Oh yeah, no, Allie and I haven't told her this. Allie and I should interview you.
Destiny's Child on board, y'all. Oh my gosh. I'm really flattered though. That is a
I didn't tell her that that's the plan.
You're like, I didn't tell her that yet, but she's on board. I don't know if she's on board, but she's on board.
She doesn't know, but she doesn't get a say. No, we're gonna do it for like a season premiere. Now they're having seasons. Let's do a season premiere, or we'll make it for your birthday.
That is so sweet of you, and that's very thoughtful. Thank you.
Yes.
We'll make it happen. We'll lead up to it, definitely.
We've all listened to those interviews where it's like they clearly have 5 questions written out, and they're going to ask those 5 questions no matter what. And it's like this person is dropping like such cool things that can be tangents, and the interviewer just doesn't want to like go down that road. Like, and it's painful. It's painful to listen to those interviews. So any interviewer like you that is prepared to just go where it goes, way more genuine. I don't know about anyone else, but that is what I want to listen to. I don't want to listen to your like questionnaire. I can just make a Facebook status, one of those stupid things that says like, how old are you? How many dogs do you have? Have you ever traveled? Like, I'll make a Facebook status to answer those questions. If that's all you want.
Sarah, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And you know how special this is to me in general and why I started it. So that was very special of you to just say thank you. So knowing that we had this interview lined up, is there anything else that you absolutely want for anyone who's going to watch and listen to hear?
One thing I've been thinking about lately, I guess, no one ends up where they think they're going to end up. Like, for better or for worse, that like the things you think you're going to do might not always happen or happen in the way that they're going to. Or you might get exactly what you think you were going to get. And then it might happen in a totally different way. Letting go a little bit for all of us control freaks and like fearful, anxious people who want to know exactly what's happening. That like, you have to just let whatever's happening happen and assume that it's going to be for the best. And if it's not, you make another decision. And you just change it when you get the opportunity. I never thought I'd be a homeowner, a wife, and a cat mom at this point in my life or ever. So, you know, there are many decisions I made along the way that could have stopped that all from happening. But even if I never predicted it, like this is clearly exactly where I'm supposed to be in my life right now. And I'm, you know, grateful that I was willing to be open-minded enough to let it happen, even when I could have never like written this story for myself. So that's
so deep. That is so deep. As you explained that, I just thought of like a dam. Some people are so fearful and controlling and hesitant, and they lack so much faith that they would rather work to build a dam to cut off that flow rather than just trust that flow, trust the water, let it go through, let life happen, and believe in yourself and the decisions that you're going to make. Believe in life and the things that it's going to offer you, and not quite literally just cut it off and end up holding yourself back. You, my friend, are phenomenal. Thank you for dropping these gems. Thank you for being open-minded. Thank you for being fearless. Thank you for being such an amazing friend and letting the people that love you see this happen, see this transformation, be a part of the transformation. I really appreciate you, and this was amazing.
It was. Thank you for being an amazing friend, of which I really, truly have never felt like I had many friends. So I'm very grateful for you.
The fearless dance.
Oh, I don't know.
Be fearless, y'all. Yo, that's we were really doing it so synchronized. It looks so good. Dance teachers unite. Woo woo.
Woo!
Well, I hope you.
You saying hi to Eva? You making your podcast debut?
Hey, Coco.
Mm.
So, Coco, tell me, what is it about Sarah and Lucas that make them the best cat parents in the world?
Because we let her lick us all the time, like a big old weirdo.
Yo, Sugar be licking me too.